Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Shaman's Way podcast. As always, I am joined by the lovely Kriket. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. Thank you for asking. I know that there is a lot of interest on the medicine wheel. It is a topic that I talk about a lot. It is a topic that I've been asked to teach on and to speak on. So I thought I would start basically with an introduction to the medicine wheel. The medicine wheel is a major symbol of peaceful interaction among all living beings on earth, and we'll explore that more. So the medicine wheel represents harmony, balance, connections. Medicine wheels were a term used by anthropologists to describe a stone edifice or a stone creation. It does not refer to the same medicine wheel that is referred to in indigenous languages or in traditional languages, whether it's a medicine wheel, whether it is a circle of reeds, whatever it is. Medicine wheel in that term means medicine is that imbuing of spirit of something. We're going to stick to the anthropological word for the moment. It was first applied to the Bighorn medicine wheel in Wyoming, the most southern and one of the largest medicine wheels in existence. This site consists of a central circle, a piled rock, surrounded by a circle of rays or stones that travel from the central core into its surrounding circle. Alberta actually has 66% of all of the known medicine wheels, which is 46, in North America. And southern Alberta seems to have been a meeting place for many of the Plains tribes, and that some of them speculate on whether it was at solstice, but we really don't know. Despite their physical existence, there is a lot of mystery that surrounds the medicine wheel, because without written records, so little is understood as to their true meaning. We have lots of theories, including the wheels contain significant stellar and cosmological alignments, specifically designed, in other words, to point towards the rising sun or to a certain star nation's constellation. Some of them believe that it is the performance of specific rituals and ceremonies that have been lost into the mists of time. Suffice it is to say that medicine wheels have since morphed into many different kinds and have provided a tangible mechanism upon which the healing of all people, communities, and nations can be focused. Like all things, adaptability is the key to survival. The medicine wheel teachings have been adapted by many tribes, many traditions. That aside, medicine wheels, sans the name, have been found throughout the world. People have celebrated and ritually practiced in circles and wheels for centuries. One does not have to look much beyond the I Ching, mandalas, or sand paintings to name, just a very few, to see that the concept of the wheel has been an integral part of our spiritual heritage. Factors such as cosmology, geographical locations, priests, shamans, sacred geometry, they all create differences in representations of wheels that we find in sacred art, we find it in ritual and ceremony. Ultimately, when we come right back to everything, the medicine wheel is an opportunity to refer to power, and it goes much bigger than just the word. Medicine wheels have many different layers. They're incredibly complex and amazingly simple. So, here we have, one of the main aspects of shamanism is paradoxes. At least that's what I teach. The wheel can be as simple as teaching the basics of directions. It can go as complicated as to which spirit to travel to when our lungs are giving us trouble. There are many different applications to the medicine wheel. The wheel is used to mark time, such as equinoxes and solstices. For me, when I create a medicine wheel in my healing ceremonies, we've talked about this in different podcasts, I know I've written about this, that the wheel that I build is to stop time it is that representative of the betwixt and the between. Whatever happens within that wheel happens within a space of non-time, which is a concept that I'm sure many listeners understand, and then that is a concept that perhaps a few listeners don't, but I will certainly repeat that and go into that in some of the more in-depth work that we do together. So the very fact that medicine wheels have different lifespans, some wheels are for a very long period of time, such as Stonehenge. Incidentally, Sundial Medicine Wheel in Alberta is older than Stonehenge.
Wow.
It is much older. So the wheel acts as a portal between the worlds, so between the sky nations and the earth nations. We combine earth and sky stones. We combine light and dark stones. The light stones in the wheel are the earth stones, so they are our bones or the messengers of the earth. These that share or instill within us our secrets. And what I'm talking about is when we start building a wheel, what are some of the kind of stones that we're going to talk about? So if we recognize that wheels can stop time, or they are that portal, as we begin to build the wheel, we begin to build it consciously. What are the different things that we're bringing into it, and what are the things that we wish this particular wheel to represent? The wheel that I'm talking about is a transitory wheel, a symbolic wheel, not a solid wheel that will be built on somebody's land, or wheels that we can go and to see where we have all of the stones of the north, south, east, west, all the center stones, all the moon stones, and that being a solid, stable structure, that place being the portal, that place being the betwixt and between, that solid place that people have dedicated parts of their land to. What I'm talking about are medicine wheels that we build with intention. The light stones, as I said, are the earth stones, and the dark stones for me represent, it can be the dark stars. It also represents for me the new moons, because I think that they hold more power for me, which is the void or the unknown. And the light and the dark, the two halves to the whole universe, are just the simple beginning representations to a really long and deep symbolic relationship between the macrocosm and the microcosm. The medicine wheel is a circular symbol representing the wholeness of life. Very, very simple put, right? It is a perfectly balanced shape without a top or a bottom, a length or a width. It represents constant movement and constant change. It's symbolized by a cross within a circle, and this simple design is the basis for teaching the medicine wheels that I do. It is the power of the four directions is implied whenever a wheel or a circle is drawn. Cycles of life and nature move in circular fashion. When we were calling in directions, my one teacher would always say everything is in a circle. So the earth spins in a circle around, for 24 hours. The trunks of trees are circular. The birds' nests are circular. Our blood vessels are circular, and would imply the absolute inescapable reality that we live in a world of circles. So I took on that lesson. I took on that understanding that the circle is really an aspect of the circular nature of life. And if we look at even the Ouroboros or the snake eating its own tail, we represent that circle. Even the yin and the yang is in that form of the circle. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So the medicine wheel represents not only spirituality, but it also represents and symbolizes reasons, emotions, the physical aspects of people's beliefs, their knowledge, feelings, actions. All of that is related to the medicine wheel. The medicine wheel is the place we come back to when we're trying to figure out where we are on our path. We can mix stones. We can use dark stones for all the moons if we're working with a wheel for a new moon ceremony, or we can use all white stones if we're working with a full moon ceremony. And as I said before, because the wheel acts as a portal between the worlds, we combine the earth and the sky stones, some of the light, some of the dark. Outer stones are dark, night sky, the void holds all the potential energies. The teachings of the medicine wheel were originally explained orally, with a circle being drawn on the earth. and gradually overlaying of symbols as meanings were explained by an elder. The elder would begin with the explanation of the 4 directions and the center of the wheel, which represents the sacred mystery. After explaining the 4 directions, the building blocks for the exterior of the medicine wheel, the elder would then move towards the creator stone, the first stone that is generally laid in the center of the medicine wheel. The creator stone represents, well, obviously the creator and the beginning of all things. And the center of the medicine wheel is, we talked about earlier about the medicine wheel being a circle, and then there is that cross between that represents the directions, the 4 directions. And in the very, very center where the 2 crosses meet is the actual center of the red road and the blue road. And I'll get into that in a later podcast and teaching. But sitting at the very center of the red road and the blue road is the creator. And the creator, although is many, many things, to bring it down to one synopsis or one analysis of the creator is that the creator has taken the best of the spiritual path and the best of the physical path and has created it on our earth as the human path, and the human path being a aspect or a progenitor of the creator. The creator is where all things begin. And if we have that very point, we also have chaos. So if we have where the red road and the blue road meet in the very center, creation is always in the form of chaos. So what was the very first thing that spun off from chaos? The very first thing that spun off from chaos was Father Sky. And that is the sunstone. That represents, in the spiritual world, it also represents the upper world. The Father Sky is stone number 2 on the medicine wheel. The second to be spun off from creation is Grandmother Moon. And she represents the middle world in the medicine wheel. So that is your stone number 3. The 4th stone is Mother Earth, and it represents the lower world. And that stone has a relationship with the children of the Creator. It has a relationship of Father Sky and Grandmother Moon. The Earth is sometimes considered to be the daughter between the sun and the moon. At times, the moon is considered to be the creator of the earth and the sun. So there are lots of different, you can see how already there's lots of different stories and lots of different complications in the medicine wheel. However, when you're building your medicine wheel, those are the first stones that you lay. I like using different things to represent the creator, but I like my creator stone to be the biggest stone. And then I like my very specific stones for Father Sky, Grandmother Moon, and Mother Earth. And if you go to the Sun Bear's Medicine Wheel, if you have that book, it teaches you, or he lays out what he believed were the stones that would be associated with each of those particular stones on the medicine wheel. The 5th stone is the Turtle Clan. And the Turtle Clan is the Earth Clan. The Earth Clan is the first thing to hold the center. So we've already learned about the 4 directions. This is more of the primal or representative clan or representative totem for that particular element. So the totem that was chosen for the Earth Clan was the turtle. That's the stone number 5. Stone number 6 is the frog. And stone number 6 being the frog is the water clan. I love the turtle and I love the frog. There are many different stories that are associated with the turtle. One of the references that I read about the turtle is that the turtle shell has the ability to move as the turtle is not set, it's not hard as stone. And that the exterior, that little lip of the shell, had 13 little pieces that represented the 13 dark moons. And there are the stories where the turtle is the earth. So the turtle is, how many times have we heard of Turtle Island? How many times have we heard that representation from different traditions? The frog, I love frogs. I love telling stories about frogs. I love delving into frogs from a Carl Jung's perspective, from depth psychology. I love talking about Joseph Campbell's idea of frogs, and when I first learned his story about the princess and the frog and the golden ball, the way that he told it and explained it in a mythological perspective was one of those one of those aha moments for me. Frogs live in all kinds of environments. They are wonderful shapeshifters. They are tricksters. They really are water. They can go into the places. Water can change its form. It can become ice. It can boil. It can become steam. It has the ability to be cooling. There are many different properties within fire, or within water, I mean. So the frog is a really good representation of that, and is also a really good barometer right now for where we are globally with our water system, and how many frogs are dying, how many frogs are the membrane of the water and the earth. It is like almost as though that being the sixth on the medicine wheel, the sixth stone, talks about the relationship between earth and water, and earth has to be the first thing, the first stone after the celestial beings, because earth is where everything began, and water is essential to life. And then seventh is the Thunderbird clan. Seventh is fire. Seventh stone is that which creates all of the chaos, burns away the dead things. There are so many aspects to Thunderbird. In other cultures, it's represented as the phoenix, that which rises from the ashes, that which is never defeated. So we have those incredible elements already in the center of the medicine wheel. The eighth stone on the medicine wheel is the butterfly. It is the element of air. It is the butterfly clan. There are many stories that talk about the transformative properties of butterfly. There are many stories that talk about the relationship of butterfly to our own sense of spirit. We come out of the cocoons of ourselves and we transform like the butterfly. I don't really have a strong relationship with butterfly. I have more a strong relationship with hawks or eagles or other representations of air, but I believe that butterfly is a very strong myth. When we look at the words of the chaos theory as the butterfly's wings, the wave of the butterfly's wings can create a tsunami. So we have that in our general psyche, that the butterfly is a progenitor of change, is that chaotic element of change. And air can be that creative element of change. So we have the fifth stone, which is earth, which is all of the things that are physical in manifestation. We have the sixth stone, which is water, which is the lifeblood of everything that comes. We have seven, which is fire, which that can transform. It can transform water into steam. It can transform earth into lusciousness to barrenness. And then we have air, which blows away all of the different changes. So we have a representation of the upper world, the middle world, the lower world, the four directions, and the center of the blue road and the red road, the creator stone, all sitting within the center of the medicine wheel. The next stones that come out, obviously, would be the four directions. Now, I put the four directions first because I like to build my medicine wheel a little different than other people. And I think it's important to recognize that I like to have a structure built before I set in the center. And there are people who will build the medicine wheel from the center stone out and then lay it out. And that's perfectly fine. But the intention of understanding the center of the medicine wheel is understanding our place in the medicine wheel and our place on the medicine wheel. And that's the next thing I'm going to get into. We have the medicine wheel of north, south, east, west, obviously, as being the four directions. I like to ask a person when they start on their spiritual path, whatever their spiritual path is, if their spiritual path is becoming a Reiki master, that is their spiritual path. If their spiritual path is that of Zen Buddhism, then that is their spiritual path. However, what I'm trying to get to is that we all would like to have an understanding of where we are in relationship to our life cycle. And the medicine wheel for me is an important part of where am I on my life cycle. I started in my early to mid 20s on this path, and where I started on the path was also in the element of fire. I've met many people who start in the air, in the east. So their first representation or their first inclination to the spirit world is through the mental, through clarity, through gaining information, through knowledge, that dawning of wisdom. So that is the beginning of spirit path for people. For me, the beginning of the spirit path was experiential. I was immediately involved in a drumming circle. I was immediately involved with the spirits. I was immediately manifesting the spirit world into the physical world. So I started south on the medicine wheel. I had a long relationship with fire. Fire taught me humility. Fire taught me how to laugh at myself. Fire taught me how to not take myself so seriously. And fire also taught me the importance of being a very strong warrior. Fire taught me the importance of standing in my beliefs regardless of who did not accept my beliefs. So when I moved in my age, and I talked about my anchor spot in Tips and Tricks to Journeying, and how my anchor spot changed from the fire to water, that is how I knew that the spirit and my own self had moved into the west on the medicine wheel. So now I was dealing not with being a warrior, not with fighting the spirits, not with having battles to do soul retrievals, because that was my initiation into the spirit world. That was my initiation into shamanism, was my initiation onto the warrior path. As I moved into the west and into water, I started to delve more deeply into the psychological relationship between the spiritual pursuit and understanding and healing the spiritual self. So as I moved west on the medicine wheel, my healing practice started to really move in positive directions. So spirit would send me more and more people for doing different healing work. That's how I knew I had changed into the west on the medicine wheel. How long I stay in the west, I really don't know. I didn't know how long I would be in the south either. Right now, I'm utilizing the path of west, the path of water, to understand the deep wisdom of the human psyche, to understand the deep consciousness of the human psyche. Some people enter their spiritual path in the west. Some people move immediately into working with the goddesses of water. They start their medicine wheel path by going into psychiatry, perhaps, or they start their medicine wheel path by understanding psychology and realizing that there may be more to, even though that looks like air and kind of east, they're really more delving into the soul. And some people are born west. Some people are just born with an innate understanding of consciousness and an innate understanding of the relationship between life and the afterlife. But that person still has to go around the medicine wheel to go to north, then still has to go through east, and then still has to go into the warrior. The spirits are not content with us to remain in one place at one time. The spirit world is more content with us to travel along the wheel and to grow and change our existence in that sense. As we move then from the west to the medicine wheel and we move north on the medicine wheel, we come from that place of the deep consciousness, the deep psyche, the mythology. How does everything come together? That's where I'm at right now on my path. How do I walk the path of compassion, knowing that the warrior is always at my beck and call? How do I now negotiate with spirits in a manner that would benefit both sides, whereas 15 years ago, I wasn't really interested in negotiating to get the soul pieces back of the people I was looking for. Now I try to find more peaceful solutions so even a cricket can change and mature and grow up, which is, probably a good thing.
But why would you want to? The South is so much fun.
It is a lot of fun. I'm going to do a small segue and chat about one of the journeys I did a couple of weeks ago. I don't often, in the spirit world, I have a certain regalia. I have a certain set of knives, and I have a beautiful sword, and I have different things that are armor for me, and I've learned lots of really harsh lessons in the spirit world. And I was moving into this journey, and I looked down and I have all of my battle gear on. And all I could think was, oh, wow, I haven't fought for a really long, this is going to be great. And so I'm trudging through the lower world, and I'm going to go get that soul piece and damn that demon that's holding that soul piece, and so on and so forth. And so excited to be the warrior. And then I get there and I realize that spirit already had a trick up its sleeve that I had to present as a warrior in order to negotiate compassionately. So I was fooled yet again in that sense of, here we come back to that whole reality that the spirit world is not dependent on us, rather it is independent of us. So it's just kind of a fun experience. So what do I expect when I go into the north of the medicine wheel? When I go into the north of the medicine wheel, I expect to find a lot more in the way of understanding the mysteries of beyond, to understanding the mysteries of my ancestors, my grandmothers, my grandfathers. I have reignited my love for anthropology, and that has given me good access to some very obscure and very well written articles and essays from anthropologists that are still active in the Eurasian countries. And I believe that my northern path may be bringing all of it together. My northern path then leads to the east. So am I going to be a ditzy 84-year-old? Am I going to be an airhead? Or am I going to be one of those grandmothers, with the purple hair or the purple hat? I don't know. To think that I am at my age and I've been on this path for 25 years and I'm still only moved into my second direction, it really gives me pause to wonder. Maybe some people race around the medicine wheel. I mean, we all race around the medicine wheel. We all learn lessons from each of the directions. And I have done year-long experiences on my own where I've done dedicated each month to each particular moon, and then dedicated 1 year to learning east and dedicated another year to learning south. So I've definitely explored the medicine wheel on my own in other ways. However, I'm curious to see what time frame Spirit wants me to have on this life. Maybe I will die and still be in the west of the wheel, and maybe I will die and I will be so far into the north of the medicine wheel that I will have to skip east. I don't know what is in store for me. All I know is that it is a wonderful passion, and I don't believe I could teach the medicine wheel in an hour, let alone a day, or perhaps even a week, since it has taken me all of these years to even just begin to scratch the surface. I look forward to having different podcasts to go into some of the different teachings and the deeper teachings of each of the directions, but I wanted this one to be more of an overview. You can get incredibly philosophical regarding the medicine wheel. I can get incredibly wax poetic when I talk about the medicine wheel. But today it was really more about what are the functions of each of the primary stones that we began with. What are the function of the primary 8 stones, the center of the medicine wheel. So I hope it was useful.
It's very cool. And kind of alluded to this maybe being a part of a series. Any idea what the next one might be?
I think the next one will be exploring the aspects of the four directions, and we're going to just explore the fours. So we have the four directions, the four states of humanity, the four colors. So we have many aspects of the number 4. So I'd like to explore that more.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. As always, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And for everyone out there, we do have the show notes at shamansway.net/podcast if you're looking for any more detail or reading on these topics. Until next time.
Until next time.